Wales and Argentina this weekend, folks. First game of the November period for both these sides. And it's Argentina, I think, who started that Welsh losing run, right? The last time these guys played was back at the 2023 Rugby World Cup quarterfinal, where Argentina knocked out Wales. And that started that long run of losses for Wales. But they haven't played each other since then. Wales has got a new coach. They got a bunch of big gun players back. The Pumas have been up and down, like they just got beaten a couple of times by the Springboks, but they did beat the All Blacks and the Wallabies in their most recent Rugby Championship campaign. So how will both these sides go? It's going to be an interesting one to watch. According to the world rankings, it should be Argentina all day long because they're ranked 6th up against 12th spot Wales, but who knows, man? Maybe there's some optimism in Welsh rugby with the new coach. And as I said, the return of some big gun players. Let's go through the squads, some of the stats and predictions. You guys let us know your thoughts. For Wales, their squad sees the return of a lot of players. Like, they are coming off a win over Japan from the mid-year matches, but I think 5 of the guys in the forward pack did not play in that game, including Rhys Carey, who's back. I mean, he's starting. I would have thought, because Nicky Smith's there as well, he did play in that Japan game as a starter, but Nicky Smith drops to the bench. I would have thought the reverse is preferable for their roles, just the way, Rhys Carey likes to throw himself around the park, but maybe he's go empty the tank, as we've been told, and then, we'll replace you with Nicky Smith. I'm not sure. It just, for mine, as a non-international rugby coach, would have made more sense, but I'm sure Steve Tandy's got his reasoning there, which is probably a lot more well thought out than mine. Dewey Lake, tackle machine for the Ospreys against that Japanese team that they beat a while back, continues on a hooker. He was never in doubt. And then Kieran Asarati is your tight head. Lock and duo is looking pretty good with 2 returnees that both haven't played for Wales for a wee while. David Jenkins, did he play in the Six Nations? I feel like his most recent game. And then Adam Baird hasn't played for Wales for quite a while. So I think that's a bolstering for your chances. There's only one guy in that type 5 played, and that was Dewey Lake in that win over Japan. Alex Mann continues on. Jack Morgan back from Lions duties. You'll be looking to him for some of your X-Factor stuff, turnovers and top tackler, and putting him a bloody kick through if he gets a chance. And the Aaron Wainwright be carrying for days, week in, week out. I see him playing for the Dragons. They can't get a win in the URC, but that guy's trying his best always. He was your top carrier against Japan, so you'll be looking to him to get some go-forward ball from that number 8 jersey as well. So as I said, a lot of changes from the side that most recently played for Wales. Thomas Williams, another Lion, is back, so great to see him in Welsh colours again. And the number 10 jersey, it's Dan Edwards this week. Hopefully he gets a good run of games at 10, because you guys have had, since the departure of Bigger and Patchell and Anscombe, it's been tough going to fill those shoes. You've had, Costello, I think Ben Thomas has had a crack, and Dan Edwards now. I feel like give Dan Edwards a few games. See how he goes. I feel like he's the most promising of the guys, potentially with a higher ceiling than the likes of a Sam Costello, but we'll see. Ben Thomas in the midfield at 12, and then Max Llewellyn will be looking to cause some havoc at 13. I quite like that midfield. And Josh Adams and Tom Rogers plus Bear Murray, that's your back 3. So that's actually unchanged from that Japan game, which means Rhys Zammit, who's back with Wales, only rides the pine for this one. Belcher, Nicky Smith, and Archie Griffin. Those guys all played against Japan, although Smith and Griffin started in that one. They are bench guys for this one. Freddie Thomas likewise. And then Ollie Cracknell will get his Wales debut, so big congratulations to him. Steve Tandy's been talking him up, so we'll see how he goes. Kieran Hardy's on the bench, Jared Evans, and as I said, Zamo is there as well. For the Argentinians, their changes are fewer than their last game against the Box at the end of the Rugby Championship. They do have a few guys returning. Vivas and Montoya in the front row are steady. Montoya's captain. Expect him to be one of the top tacklers for the Pumas as well. Delgado comes in at tight head. We haven't seen him, I think, since the opening 2 rounds of the Rugby Championship where they played the All Blacks. He's not played for Argentina since then, but they did win one of those games, remember? And then Petty and Kremer are a changed second row, with Kremer moving from loose forward to lock. They have had Rubiolo out injured, which doesn't help them in that regard. And they've brought in the veteran Alemano on the bench as well. So it's a little bit of a different looking Argentinian second row. But Petty's a hell of a skilled guy, and Kremer was literally the top tackler of the Rugby Championship. So expect him to do more of the same. Juan Martin Gonzalez is in the back row as well. He's one of the best loose forwards at line-out operation, so they should be well covered there. Matera is there, and Joaquin Oviedo is a pretty direct ball-carrying number 8 to look out for because he likes to bust some tackles. The 9-10 combo is looking a little bit light on experience with Benitez, Cruz, and Priscantelli because Thomas Albornoz is injured. So that's a bit of a blow at 9, and then Gonzalo Garcia, sorry, at 10, and Gonzalo Garcia is injured, which is a blow at 9. So not necessarily their first, maybe even second choice 9-10 combo, but the youngsters, or at least the less experienced guys, will see how they go. Priscantelli is a pretty exciting player. You'll have seen him in the URC, but yeah, Test match rugby will be an interesting one for him. Not his debut, but we'll see how he goes. And they do have Santi Carreras there at fullback, so kind of a second playmaker thing going on if needs be. Mateo Carreras is a proper excitement machine on the left wing. He is back. That's good news. Wasn't like lighting up the try-scoring stats because the Pumas sometimes lack that clinical edge in the Rugby Championship, but geez, was he breaking some tackles and getting into some space. And Delgui likewise on the right wing. And then the midfield of Chocobares and Picardo continues on too. So yeah, there's a few interesting calls with Malia dropping to the bench. He's been a regular starter all Rugby Championship. One of the top rub meter guys and offloaders and whatnot, but he'll bring some experience off the bench for sure. Mojano and Iskro, the two backs. And then Thomas Gajo is back at loose head. The guy missed out on the entire Rugby Championship campaign with injury, but that guy can cause some havoc, so pleasing to see him back. Ruiz, Rapeti, Alemano, Grondona, the forward replacements. But yeah, we'll see how a bit of a changed Argentinian lineup goes. If the 9 and 10 click, they've got talent around the rest of the team to back them up. But as I said, Steve Tandy with his first, geez, someone just slammed the door, moved my camera. Steve Tandy with his first Welsh squad will be looking to start off with a win. Stats-wise for these sides, it is kind of hard to gauge the Welsh stats because, you've had two different coaches and we're on a third coach now, so what do you read into it? Well, they've seemingly, as the season progressed, started to pick up some attacking steam. Like they managed 4 tries against Scotland, although they had a pretty bad result against England the next week. They scored 4 tries in their most recent win over Japan. And there were signs in terms of like monitoring like the meters per carry, which is like how well are you doing generally offensively. They were starting to look a little bit better. But it's a new coach now, so we don't read too much into it. The line-out was a bit shaky against Japan in both games, to be fair, even the win, but they've got a couple of new locks, so we'll see if they get that to click. You feel like it'll need to click against Argentina. For Argentina, like they've got some pretty sexy backs, but they slotting a lot of penalties. Like they beat the All Blacks largely in threes, which is the thing that all the All Blacks commentators say you can't do. I can't beat the All Blacks scoring threes. You need to score tries. Well, they did it. So if there's any ill discipline, they will quite happily punish you by keeping the scoreboard ticking over. They still run a little bit hot and cold, though, Argentina. I do feel like they are kind of the new France in terms of how they're going to perform and which team's going to show up. The cliche. Like they had against the Box, they had 2 line breaks one week and like 10 the next. Literally the same opponent. They lost to the All Blacks, beat the All Blacks. They lost to the Wallabies, beat the Wallabies. Consistency was against Argentina, against South Africa, where they lost 2 in a row, but that was like they got hammered and it was a lot closer. So how will they show up this week will be an interesting one to watch. Recent history, like I said, it's a split, 2-2, plus a draw. The most recent one is that World Cup match. But as I said, all these games, all these ones predate Wales's recent slump. So we go back to 2018 if we're looking back to the last 5 matches. So it's kind of hard to read too much into that history as well. But it has been tight. Like the average score across the last 5 is 21-20 to Argentina. So fingers crossed it's something similar this weekend. It is on Sunday at the Principality. It's Ben O'Keefe, who is the ref, a New Zealander. So that might give the Argentinians a bit of an advantage because they'll be more familiar with him from Rugby Championship or whatnot. But yeah, 3:10 in the afternoon kickoff. 4:10 in the morning for me in New Zealand. Not ideal, but I'll be getting up to watch it. The bookies have got the Argentinians by 9. The Rugby Forecast algorithm likewise has the Argentinians winning it by 9. So Wales underdogs at home. You guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Yeah.